think my main takeaway was just sort of rethinking what forests are and what we think about when we hear the term reforestation, as this 1 billion trees program falls under. When I first started working on this project, I considered it to be rebuilding natural forests for wildlife, and that's not quite what this program is actually doing right now. Hi, this is Michael Tatarski, a freelance journalist based in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and I reported on the 1 billion tree program in Vietnam. This was announced last November by the Prime Minister at the time in the wake of a string of horrible typhoons and tropical storms that impacted mostly central Vietnam, causing record flooding, killed almost 200 people, and about $1.5 billion in property damage. So central Vietnam is quite rural, very mountainous, very prone to landslides, and this plan calls for 1 billion trees to be planted nationwide by 2025 in an effort to increase forest cover for Vietnam and also protect communities from landslides as trees hold hills together and make it more difficult for rain to cause deadly disasters. So what I learned, and that is curious, is that while this plan was announced in response to disasters in rural areas, around 700 million of the planned trees are expected to go into urban centers and industrial zones. And of course, this is important. Here in Ho Chi Minh City in particular, there is a huge lack of green space, of tree cover. But where I went to Hue in central Vietnam, this is the region that got hit the hardest. It is largely acacia plantations, and this is a cash crop tree. It's very tall and thin. It can be knocked over easily in high winds caused by storms and contribute to landslides instead of protecting. And while acacia is important, it's helped a lot of rural farmers to generate income by selling to paper companies and timber companies after they harvest these trees. They don't do much of anything for biodiversity. They offer no habitat for wildlife. They offer minimal protection from storms. And yet this entire region is essentially carpeted in acacia. And what is surprising is that, as far as we know at the moment, the 1 billion trees program is still quite vague. Little is planned to go into this area where all these disasters occurred. But I did meet farmers who are aware of the dangers of these monocrop plantations and are planting indigenous tree species among their farm in between acacia. And the hope is that these trees will be able to grow for decades and provide more environmental benefits and a more diverse landscape.